We had a story today suggesting that Islamist terrorists were exempt from sniffer dog jail searches because they were claiming it infringed their religion.
If it turns out to be true and is corroborated, then it just completely confirms the weakness of our authorities and governing system.
Hashem Abdi.
Welcome to Tactical Truths, the go-to series for military news, tactical analysis, and frontline stories that matter. Before we get started, I need your help. 73% of you who watch regularly haven't subscribed yet. If you like what we do, hit that subscribe button, it's free, and helps us make this show better for you every single week. I'm Phil Campion, former UK SAS, and this is Tactical Truths. Right, let's talk about something that's causing real concern inside the UK's prison system. Islamist prisoners reportedly are exempt from sniffer dog searches due to religious sensitivities. Is this sensible? Or is it a dangerous appeasement putting security at proper risk? When it comes to keeping prisons safe, does religious belief trump safety protocols? Time to cut through the politics and get to the tactical truth on this bad boy.
But there has been incidents where some people who are Islamic extremists have taken over, have converted other prisoners to the faith. So that's proving...
And that's a dangerous thing. And talking from experience, I've seen it, all right? Don't forget, 15 years ago, I had a little look inside prison myself, all right? Although nothing ever happened to me, but, you know, I've seen it.
To be a problem for some prison officers to get a grip of. I mean, we had a story today in The Sun on Sunday.
And you know what? This thing that's happening inside with people being converted is usually to do with getting a bit more time out of their cell and not to do with religion so much. And that's the bare-ass truth about it. It really is.
Suggesting that Islamist terrorists were exempt from sniffer dog jail searches because they were claiming it infringed their religion.
Here we go. So this is the crux of what we're dealing with here. Let's have a look at what the Sun newspaper had to say.
Religion. We've got to have sniffer dog searches in jails, regardless of who your God is. Surely, ads.
Yeah, surely, ads. Come on, surely, ads. Surely. Look, let's not forget why these people are there and what they've done. That goes without saying. And I'm going to run that as a theme through this. Let's not forget who we are dealing with and what they are capable of. All right?
I suppose if you're in a position of being in prison, committed crimes, then obviously that you've got to be subject to the security measures that are actually in place to make everybody safe. So again, you know, I'm not going to be defending that either. You know, I'm a Muslim, and I wouldn't find it difficult if a dog come to search my prison cell, for instance, because.
Let's have a look at it this way, right? If, for instance, the same person who's moaning about the dog there was trapped under a pile of rubble in a bombing somewhere, would they mind if the sniffer dog came and saved them? Would they mind if the sniffer dog helped them out? Would they mind if the sniffer dog was deployed to try and help save human life? Would they mind about that? Probably not, would they? Probably not. That's another way of looking at that, isn't it, eh?
Of the situation that I've put myself in the first place. You know, it comes with the territory. You know, you commit crime, you're going to go to prison. My aim and goal is to actually motivate people, put them on the positive path, get them to see that they can actually change. And you can change if you want to change, and change can occur in an instant if you're willing to flick the switch. But
well, I don't know who this geezer is, but he's absolutely boring me.
But at the same time, if you find yourself in prison, then obviously, you know, you've got to adhere to the security measures to make sure everybody's safe, and that includes the prison officers and the education department and your peers that are actually around you.
Exactly. So that's confirming what we're saying here in a roundabout way, isn't it?
Morning, people. I don't know if you saw this story that
Right, this guy was on. This guy came off social media. Let's see what his take is.
came out over the last few days. But if it turns out to be true and is corroborated, then it just completely confirms the weakness and insanity of pretty much all aspects of our authorities and governing system. So,
there you go, interesting there. So, yeah, he's identifying here that possibly, if this is true, there is a bit of sort of like what we call appeasement going on. Do you know what I mean? That people are sort of like bending because they don't want to become unpopular, or because they're trying to actually I don't know what they're actually trying to do, but it's not conducive with having a safe environment when you've got extremely dangerous people on the run, and you can't facilitate the provisions you've got in place to make sure that they don't do it, that they're not up to anything.
Prison Officers Union boss, so one of the senior members of the Prison Officers Union, has come out and has said that sniffer dogs have now been banned. I don't know whether this is just in one prison, which is the prison where Hashem Abidi was, the man that attacked the prison guards last week, or whether it's across multiple prisons.
I mean, Hashem Abidi, look at the clues. And he's attacked prison guards. He's in there for being a complete and utter menace. He's attacked prison guards. Oh, I don't want a dog near me. You get what you're given, son. That's the bottom line with that one. You'll be treated how you need to be treated to keep everybody else safe. You're a menace. You're an absolute... Yeah, we know what I think, don't you?
But sniffer dogs have been banned in units housing terrorists because it offends their faith, their Muslim and Islamic faith. And so they can no longer use sniffer dogs.
Well, I'm afraid, they've offended a few people as well, so they're just going to have to live with it, aren't they? Do you know what I mean? That's how it is in my world.
Presumably to search for drugs that are being smuggled into prison, etc., because it's against their faith. These men are in prison for serious crimes.
I mean, to be fair, drugs is against their faith as well. So what we're really looking for here is weapons, isn't it? That's what we want to know. We want to know that people are safe.
These men are in prison for serious crimes. In many cases, for terrorist crimes. So quite frankly, fuck their faith. Surely...
All right, no, I'm not going to go that far. All right, fuck their faith. No, you can't do that completely, and in many cases, and it's just going to probably draw a bit of controversy out of people. They're going to argue that their faith is holding them together here, all right, for whatever reason and for whatever they believe in, right? You can't completely fuck their faith, but what you can't do is pander to their faith. You can't pander to their faith. You can let them see the imams, you can let them pray, you can give them their prayer mats, you can let them do this, that and the other. I don't want to fuck your faith. You do what you got to do with your faith. That's up to you. You've got to pay penance for your crimes. That's first and foremost, all right? But I'm not going to say fuck your faith. I think that's a bit wrong to say that, okay? What I am going to say is we can't have your faith interfering with anybody else's security and well-being. So if that means that a dog has to come from time to time into your cell and check for things and make sure that there's nothing untoward, then so be it. That's not really interfering with your faith. And like I've said before, if that prison collapsed around your ears, you'd be quite happy if we deployed a sniffer dog to find your sorry ass and drag you out, wouldn't you? You would be, wouldn't you? You would, yeah. Yeah, you would, yeah.
The security of the prison, maintaining the rules and the laws and integrity of that prison, maintaining prison officer safety, because if prisoners are off their face on drugs, I would imagine they're much more likely to commit serious crimes.
Actually, to be fair, he has got a point there. All jokes aside, with people being off their tits, it's not the best place to be off your tits in prison, is it? Do you know what I mean? It probably would make them seem a little bit more dangerous or be a little bit more dangerous.
Surely that trumps any consideration over what faith people might be. Because if you start to bring in rules like that, then how easy is it for everyone just to claim they belong to whatever faith it might be and to get special privileges?
And here's the problem, and I've seen it already happening. That's another thing here. So actually, he's speaking a little bit here. I know for a fact that there are people in prisons right now claiming to be this, that and the other to gain themselves favour, to get themselves on a different diet, to get themselves out of their cell 5 times a day, etc., etc., etc. I've seen it. I know it goes on. People have told me it goes on. People have admitted it in front of me, okay? So I'm not making that up whatsoever. So he's right there. Right. Let's cut to the chase with this one, shall we? There's something seriously wrong here. Reports are emerging that Islamist prisoners in the UK jails might be exempt from sniffer dog searches because it interferes with their religious beliefs. Yep, that's right. You heard that right. Sniffer dogs, one of the best tools we have for detecting contraband, weapons, etc., and keeping prisons secure, are possibly getting sidelined because some inmates don't like dogs touching them. Mark Fairhurst from the Prison Officers Association has flagged this as a genuine safety risk. He reckons we're dangerously close to appeasing extremely dangerous individuals by relaxing crucial security checks. Look, I fully support religious freedom, but here's where I draw the line. Safety first, always. Dogs aren't there to disrespect anyone. They're there to save lives, stop drugs and weapons from getting inside and protect officers and prisoners alike. The Justice Secretary, Shabana Manhood, says security remains a priority. But here's the tactical truth. Any exemption or relaxation, however well-intentioned, weakens the front line. Prisons aren't holiday camps. They're high-stakes environments where the smallest gap in security can have lethal consequences. Bottom line, religious beliefs matter. Sure, of course they do. But they can't trump safety protocols, ever. Let's not forget who's inside these walls and what they're capable of. Stay vigilant, stay uncompromising, and never let political correctness override common sense security. End of. Okay? Subscribe now for more hard-hitting tactical truths.